Thanks, Bill. All right. So the first chart that I want to dive into, and I want to make sure I'm shared. Yep, I'm shared. I want to just take a look at total crypto market cap, and I just want to show you this interesting fractal because when the market's down 30%, and this is total cryptocurrency market cap, so this just represents the overall total, all the money in crypto. It's the entire crypto market. And you can see right now this correction is overall down about 29-30% from our all-time high. Right now, let's just go back to 2017, about halfway through this bull run, right before most of the gains occurred, most of the big gains occurred. Right? What happened? Well, first we had a 47% correction. Right? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks later, after making a new all-time high, we had a 45% correction, right? So extreme volatility, extreme whiplash. All of that was creating this ascending wedge pattern. If you don't know a ton about patterns or technical analysis, and to be quite honest, I'm not the biggest pattern trader in the world, but they're usually correct. They're correct more often than they're not, which is why people trade off of them. This is known as a bearish ascending wedge. This is an extremely bearish pattern. Yet what happened? It ripped up to new all-time highs, right? So we had extreme volatility and we had a bearish pattern on total cryptocurrency market cap, yet the market just goes parabolic, right? So bull markets will try to do everything in their power to completely shake you out, and they don't always make sense. And they're extremely volatile in nature, right? Imagine going through two back-to-back nearly 50% corrections and not getting shaken out. And if you didn't get shaken out here and you still stayed in despite the fact that there was a massive bearish ascending wedge, you were rewarded with a parabolic blow off top that basically from the bottom of these dips where we could potentially be buying now, right, was 7 to 10x returns, 7 to 10x returns, 7 to 12x if you want to be exact. I also want to show you this fractal pattern before we jump into specific levels. And fractals don't always play out, but oftentimes price action will move in similar ways, right? We have a very similar fractal playing out to right now to where we were, what we saw back in 2017 before we went parabolic. Two back-to-back big crashes, although these ones have been less severe, right? These have been more in the 30 to 40% range versus the 45% and higher range, which just tells us we're seeing extreme market volatility. And that's something that we do see before a parabolic run-up. The other thing I'll say is that most of the time when you get a big market top that takes a long time to recover from, or just even a market cycle top, within a few 4 or 5 bars, you're down like 60-70%, like 60-70% right after the top, right? Even in our previous top in this market cycle, we were down 49% within 2 bars, within 2 weeks, right? If we go back to this previous market cycle back in 2013, we were down 64% in 3 weeks, right? We're 5 weeks into this correction and we're only down 30%. And that's not to say that this couldn't have been the market cycle peak, but it is to say that people aren't really panic selling or getting liquidated, right? This is a 30% correction. It's absolutely brutal to watch your portfolio dip. It's very scary, but it's not like what we've seen in the past where 2 bars in, 2 weeks in, we're down over 50%. And usually that's more of a top signal. So with all of that in mind, I want to talk about some specific levels that I'm personally looking to buy crypto at on these dips. Now, this is a very busy chart, and all of these lines do mean something to me. I'm not going to explain all of them. What I am going to give you is I'm going to give you 3 support levels. 3 support levels. So pay attention and listen closely because I know this is a messy chart and I want to point these out to you. The first support level is actually 46K, and we've already bounced off of it. We already bounced off of it today. We're capitulating really hard. And I do believe that even in the short term today, we should see some sort of a bounce, right? If we zoom into the 4 hour, we've got this local, these lower highs, right? And we've got kind of these lower lows going on. I think 46K, there's a really strong chance that this is going to be our local low, and we should pop back up in the short term. Now, whether we go to make another lower low and continue further down, or we make a higher or a lower high rather, or if we make a higher high, come up to retest this level and get back on top of it and go up from here, is still unclear. We've got to let the data print. We've got to let the candles print. We've got to figure that out. Regardless, I do think this market absolutely can go lower. I'm not saying it will go lower. It absolutely can go lower, and I'm going to be prepared for it if it does. So I do think there's going to be a bounce today at 46K. We're already starting to see the bleed off slow down around 46K. That's because the incentive to short Bitcoin on 3x leverage has dried up after it drops below 46K. So I think the sell pressure, we're going to get a little bit of relief in the sell pressure. Also, we've had some pretty strong support around 47K in the past. Now, we have broken out of this level, right? Out of this consolidation and below our 47K line. So that is, to be quite honest, bearish. I do think we'll get a little bounce here regardless, though. So the first support level for Bitcoin is 46K. The second support level is not actually a margin pressure level, but it is a very big level that we've seen be resistance and support in the past. And that's 42K. That's where we peaked at back in January before we got a bit of a correction followed by a big altcoin run, right? We initially found some support there after our big correction. That was kind of the level that sparked, right? Nobody thought we'd come down below 42K. And as soon as we broke below 42K back here in May, that's what really sparked this runoff of liquidations, and the price popped right back up. It was extremely volatile, popped right back up from 30K back up to 42K to retest before getting resistance at 42K. We also had resistance at 42K back in August, right? Some consolidation on 42K above and below, chopping above and below 42K in September. And our most recent flash crash down the other day at the beginning, 4th of December, actually came down to exactly 42K, right? So that's my next buy level and support level for Bitcoin. And then if we get the full 50% correction and you really want to take advantage of these 50% corrections, we're looking at 34,500, right? 50% off of our 69K all-time high. And this is an absolute buy level, no questions about it. And I'm not going to walk through too much strategy here, but the idea behind buying this level, if we just bleed out to 34,500, is you can buy at 34,500, sell the retest, and just you take a nice chunk of profits with you into a bear market if we do go into one, or if we run back up, you have a nice entry point down here at 34.5K, right? So on to Ethereum. My levels to watch out for Ethereum, I've been talking about this for the last several weeks now. 4K major support. I stand by anybody who decided to buy at $4,000. Now, I personally, I bought at $4,000 and I actually sold up here at a previous all-time high because I got spooked. I got spooked on, now my long-term, let me be clear, my long-term Ethereum position I'm still holding, but just my leverage trading Ethereum positions. I got spooked because of this bearish ascending wedge, right? We just talked about this on Total Cryptocurrency Market Cap. We had this bearish ascending wedge form. I believe I talked about it last week on the live stream, and I know for sure I talked about it on Crypto Foresights, I believe. So, yeah, we saw ETH Bitcoin degrade, which is a bearish sign overall for ETH. So I exited my long ETH position in terms of leverage, and I'm looking to rebuy at $3,400. Now, there is some key support here at around 36 and 37, really 35, 36, and 3,700, right? We've got strong support all up in this region for Ethereum, but I'm not going to force this buy anywhere above $3,400, right? So I want to see ETH come down to $3,400, which is our 2x long level off of our support down here of 1,700, right? Next, my second support level is 2880. Why 2880? Well, you can see just structurally that it was a very key resistance level back here in June over the summer, right? And again, it was a key support level back here. And then we consolidated on this level back in September, right? But if we zoom out even further, right, and we go all the way back in time, if it'll let me on the 4-hour, it might not let me on the 4-hour. Let's switch to the daily chart. You can see our previous all-time high was 1440, right? The 2x of that right, projects support and resistance to 2880, right? 2880. Right. So that's the point at which you can, 1440 is major resistance because that was our previous, or major support rather, our previous all-time high back from 2017, 2018, right? And this level actually projects up support to 2880, right? So 2880, big level to buy on. And then we also have all of this nice support at 2652 from our previous local low that you could buy on, as well as 2550, which is our 3x long level off of 1700, right? So you have three really strong levels to buy on. To recap, $3,400 is the first line of support. I really think that Ethereum can actually hold this. This would be within the bounds of this expanding volatility pattern that we're seeing, right? Which is due to just the market's confused. The market's really confused. Half the market believes that ETH is ridiculously undervalued based on what's happening with the supply, EIP 1559, just burning a ton of ETH. The net issuance of ETH has dropped dramatically. And you have the other half of the market that's like really scared of the Fed tapering and crashing all markets. So what do you get? You just get this really expanding volatility choppiness where the market doesn't know where to price ETH. And if we are ready to take advantage of this, we can buy from the bears down here at 3,400. And if they really take it low, we can scoop some dips as low as potentially 2,550. So those are the levels I'm watching for: 2,550, 2,880, 3,400, right? How you go about structuring your buys there is totally up to you. Luna. Luna, again, like I talked about with Bitcoin already bouncing at 46K, Luna already bouncing off of one of its first key support levels. So 5227, that is a key level for Luna off of its recent all-time high. Now, these margin pressure levels have been fantastically accurate for Luna very recently. I calculated this 3787 level off of our recent previous all-time high. I got in at $39, rode it all the way up to 78. I took profits at 75 because that was the 2x long margin pressure level. And what do you know? We've already corrected back down to 5227. I bought more Luna here. I compounded my position today. So I took 50% off the table here, took my profits, and then I put it back in, or some of it back in at 5227, expecting some sort of a bounce here in the short term. If we do break down below, I think $39 is a very strong buy level. It's a very strong buy level, very strong support level, because not only was it our previous support over here, but we also have the 2x 50% correction, 2x short level here, where you see that the sell pressure really start to dissipate as we move down past $39, right? And worst case scenario kind of deal for Luna, you want to be able to snag it here on its previous high and previous support levels down here at 2265, right? If it really crashed, be ready to buy here. Go, not financial advice, but start scrounging together some change from under the couch, and buy a couple Luna at $22.65. MATIC, not financial advice there. All right, MATIC. Again, I'm still in my MATIC trade for my entry down here at $1.50, just calculating off of this most recent high of $2.58, not the all-time high. All-time high was up here at 271. We didn't quite get there before the market started to get bearish, right? Again, just like Ethereum, we're seeing expanding volatility, except for this expanding volatility is winding up upwards, right? We're still seeing higher lows and higher highs. This is very good sign. I think if Ethereum can recover here and head back up above $4,000, we could absolutely see MATIC rip up to its previous all-time high, which would be very bullish, right? So MATIC has support at $1.72. Hasn't quite gotten there yet. It might not get there. We've got very strong support here as well, just structurally, right? We had a ton of support in this region, right? But I'm not jumping into this prematurely, right? If you miss it, you miss it. But I want to make people give me their MATIC, give me their altcoins at a cheap price. I don't want to be somebody that's going to pay too much for MATIC, even if it's just a couple cents over, right? $1, you might be thinking, what's the difference between $1.72 and $1.81? If we're expecting a bounce here, Should I just get in at $1.81? It makes a big difference when you talk about all of your positions over the lifespan of your crypto journey, right? So be a little bit stingy here. I'm not touching this for anything more than $1.72, right? And if we see it degrade further below our 2x short level, all the way down here is at $1.24. So $1.24 is a really nice scoop, in my opinion, for MATIC if we see it degrade. Now, we already are starting to get a bounce on a key margin pressure level of $8.81 for Near protocol. And I will just mention, notice how Near and Luna came down to their margin pressure levels already and bounced. One thing about Matic is when it doesn't quite get there, and you're seeing a bunch of other altcoins get to their margin pressure levels, but then Matic doesn't get there, that to me is a bullish sign for Matic, right? That is a bullish sign for Matic. Solana did this before it ripped up, right? It should have come down to a 2x short level and it stopped a few percent short and then it just ripped up while everything else was hitting their levels, right? So Matic to me actually looks pretty bullish despite the fact that it is down. It is down quite a bit. It's down 32% from its recent high. Still, compared to other stuff, Matic seems to be holding up a little bit better. Could be that it's just a little bit more correlated to Ethereum being a layer 2 EVM compatible smart contract network. All right. So Near protocol, we ripped up off of our previous margin pressure level at $6.30. That would have given you a phenomenal entry point. We had some resistance, right? Some previous resistance here in the $8 to $9 range, right? Didn't quite make it all the way up, but we are starting to get a bounce here at our 2x short level of $8.81. I know it's a little bit sloppy here. I hope you guys can see that. All right, two more for you guys. Sandbox entry points between $4.03 and $4.25. I absolutely expect a bounce here. Does that mean we're going to bounce and go up to all-time highs? Not necessarily, right? I hope so. I do think that the crypto market could absolutely go parabolic even after recovering from a 30% dip. But I do expect at least some sort of a bounce here, whether it's just a little small bounce back up to our previous resistance, so up here at $5.70, or if a retest of our all-time high, but some sort of a bounce here in the short term at $4, between $4 and $4.25. There's two really strong margin pressure levels here. Not only that, but that is exactly where we started to see the buys come in on December 4th when we crashed. The buys were sitting down here at $4.25. So absolutely some good entry points at $4 for Sandbox. Last one before I kick it back over to Bill. And I think we'll be doing Crypto Showdown before we go into altcoin overtime. AVAX. So AVAX topped out at $147. I was very fortunate enough to get an entry down here at like $65. And I actually sold my AVAX long position at about 143. I didn't get the timing perfect. And I did jump in and out a few times here. But overall, $147 was a nice resistance level. And off of this resistance level, this all-time high, we're going to see some support play in here at $73.50. Now, we are seeing AVAX come in and make support multiple times, just like MATIC, not coming quite down to its margin pressure level, right? We're seeing AVAX build support above its margin pressure level. So AVAX does look bullish here in comparison to some of these other altcoins, right? It has not wanted to dip. It's finding the support above the level that it should be finding support at. So AVAX does look good here. But again, I'm not going to jump in prematurely. I want to get it for $73.50 if I'm going to get it, right? Then another level, our 2x long level, 64.46, and that's projected off of our previous low down here, right? So if you can buy between 60 and 70, 64 and $73, right, within this window, I would expect you to be able to be somewhat profitable, at least in the short term. You should be able to catch some sort of a bounce in this area, right? And if we do go back into a parabolic run up, right, you have a fantastic entry point down here towards the bottom. All right, those are the levels that I'm looking out for. Those are the levels that I'll be buying if I haven't bought them already, right? Luna, I already got in, I believe, at 54 and 52, right? So that trade's already starting to look pretty decent, starting to get a little bit of a bounce here.
Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com.